Let's peep this King George video real quick.
Hi, I'm King George and Rainbow Six Siege X Pro player, Six
I
Invitation
don't know if
player.
it's me. I feel like George's audio is a little low. I don't know if he's just not talking loud enough, but it's like that doesn't sound like his video, actual like scripted video content.
And now Twitch streamer. Check the links in the description. I have an in-game Rainbow Six charm, all my socials, and I stream on Twitch every day. I have a second YouTube channel with full games of Siege. So on to the video. Yeah, the topic of this video is removing the 1.5 site. The title will say removing 1.5 site, but to get specific on the actual video, I'm not talking about removing it from the game
It was a
completely.
double play.
Specifically, really just
Fucking
removing
scope.
it from 2 and 3 armor operators. Yeah, I'm also open to discussion on pretty much any of this and open to changing my mind. So if you want, leave a comment below. Obviously like the video, watch all the way through. Those things help out a bunch, and I will try to respond to every single comment. The last 2 videos that I've had, I've been able to respond to basically every single comment. So I will try to do my best to do that. There's a few arguments that I've kind of seen.
So he wants to remove the 1.5 from the game. I actually agree with it. I think here's the thing: the 1.5 in R6 is constantly like getting changed and moved around to operators. If there's something in the game that's unbalanced and you can't figure out a way to balance it, then you just take out the game. You know, it's not needed. It's not like the 1.5 is needed on the defense for the defense to compete. This is a game where the defense are inherently has an advantage. Just by default. By default, defense has the advantage. And like, oh, well, the attackers have all these options. Well, that's supposed to help them when it comes to the disadvantage that they're at when it comes to defense. If to me personally, I said this before when it came to people who got mad about the orcs change, where it's like, if you need the 1.5 to freaking get headshots or do anything, that sounds like a skill issue. I know that's like a mean thing to say. It's a skill issue, but it is a skill issue. Like, all the guns that has had the 1.5 and got it removed, I've used those guns. I play the game. I have a shit ton of clips of me playing a zombie during this season, using a freaking hollow B, doing freaking fine, getting headshots with relative ease. So it doesn't matter that freaking Captain doesn't have 1.5. I play freaking Legion a lot, like a lot, and it doesn't. I don't. You don't. He doesn't need the 1.5. So why does it work? If you feel like your gameplay is based on just one freaking site, that's a skill issue. That means you're not as good at the game as you think you are.
Put out there, possibly like giving the 1.5 site to every operator, or removing it from the game completely. Maybe just putting in slower RPM guns, nerfing the 1.5 in general. And I'm going to talk about every single one of these ideas and a few other things that I kind of wanted to talk about the site in general and stuff as well. But before I do that, I just want to thank G Fuel for sponsoring this video. Check the link in the description. You can get up to 30% off G Fuel with code kinggeorge. If you don't know what G Fuel it is,
Notably, I think the clips for this video are chosen for a reason. He's literally showing you clips of guns that aren't 1.5, and he's showing headshots because the thought process is you need 1.5 to get headshots. It'll be for an easier chance to get headshots. So it gives you better range. As long as you can see someone's freaking ahead, if you at the game, you'll land your shot.
Energy drink, you take a scoop of the powder or a packet, pour it in a cup, add water and ice, shake it up, and you have an energy drink. There's 140 milligrams of caffeine per serving. And what's nice, because it's in powder form, you could either up or down that amount of caffeine. Do 2 scoops or a half scoop or whatever you want. But as much as you use, there's no sugar. It tastes absolutely delicious. There is a Rainbow Six Siege Black Ice flavor. And the best part of all is when you buy the tubs, it's under $1 per serving. So it saves you a bunch of money. Same caffeine content, no sugar, tastes better. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So check it out. Link in the description. Thank you very much to G Fuel for sponsoring this video. But yeah, let's get into it. So I think giving the 1.5 site to all operators is probably a better decision than what we currently have. It's the first thing that I kind of want to discuss, even though the title is actually about removing it. See, the thing is if you give it to every operator, at least maybe at this point, people will take operators that are useful and put their utility down and then go and try to frag. So if you watch my last video, I'll put like a card.
Like that comment, I don't think that like giving everyone the 1.5 would make people freaking be more utility based. People still just do what they do. People don't the sight on the gun has nothing to do with the way Siege is played in terms of people won't they load into the game on defense and then just run away to go freaking set up for a freaking small peak. Like that's going to happen regardless of what the sight is or isn't on a gun, because people are trying to play the game like it's TDM. That won't change if you do anything to the sight. Like that's irrelevant to the freaking sight. Like changing the sight, putting the sight on, and things like that. Like it would increase some pick rates of some people, but for the most part, the overall community will still be playing in the exact same way. They're just trying to freaking kills. They don't care about freaking.
Hard up for this one and stuff like that. I had a video on like why the Rainbow Six meta is so aggressive right now, and I think it's so aggressive because people are kind of forced to be aggressive, right? Like the operators that you're kind of left with, if you want good fragging potential, are pretty much useless, right? What does Warden really bring to the table, or Alibi, or Oryx? I mean, they don't really bring much, to be honest, comparative to Jaeger and Bandit and Mira and other operators like this that are maybe not.
I think when it comes to like that example, only one of those people will become pretty much useless, and that's Alibi. Alibi's gadget might need to be reworked because it is kind of like a non-existent thing. Whereas like Wharton would without the 1.5, just a situational character. You know, if you're playing against people who have a habit of bringing Ying and you know they're going to bring Ying, then you just bring Wharton. If you know they're going to be playing Glass, who's currently being picked a lot nowadays, bring a Wharton. Those ones going to play Blitz, you bring a Wharton. There's reasons to bring a Wharton for situational like strategy. Whereas like Alibi is kind of just her gadget makes at this point. Works on the other hand, without the 1.5, he still has one of the best guns on defense, and he can make rotates without even needing to freaking use any kind of like impacts or even his freaking bailiff. He can just run to a wall, boom, there's a rotate. And also a lot of people who play orcs, they don't even use his ability to run through walls. He's ability to sprint across the map faster. So he still has that utility of just trying to be someone who's a fast as fuck boy, who's on the roam trying to get as many kills as he possibly can.
Quite as good. So I think it could be a viable option. I would be, I guess, open to trying it. I think that's unlikely to happen based on like Ubisoft's previous decisions and stuff like that. They seem to have kind of removed all the 1.5 sites off of the useful operators. I do think there is some merit behind what they did though, because there was actually like a stat where when Jaeger had an ACOG back in the day and his gun was super good and he was a 3-speed and everything, that people were putting down like 20% of their ADSs or something like that. But I'll take 20% of ADSs over somebody taking Warden, spawn peeking, and immediately dying. So, I mean, something's better than nothing.
Like that's not that right there has nothing to do with like the scopes in the game or even how the guns are. It's in community. Unless you just nerf everything into the ground to where gunfights are less incentivized, you can't really change how people are going to play the game when it comes to being aggressive and spawn peeking, because it's just how the community game. A lot of the reason why the community plays the game the way they play is because they see streamers and oh, Athena's doing this, Jinx is doing this, King George is doing this, so they're copying that. They're copying what Missy J is doing. They're copying what all these people are doing. And they're watching Pro League and see what the pros doing. They're copying that, and a lot of them like, oh, I don't have time to freaking do reinforcement. I am like literally living proof that you can reinforce and still go on the roam, because all I do when I play defense on Siege is roam. Let's play the zombie. Then basically like an extension from sight. But generally, when we look at my Siege clips, I'll do like one or two reinforcements, and I'll make a rotate, only one rotate, and then I'll go do my own. And I usually always have time. Anytime time I don't have time in Siege, is I'm playing someone who's actually on site the entire time. I'm playing like a mute or a zombie. I'm sitting here doing like all these rotates, not rotates, I'm doing like all this reinforcement stuff. Then I don't have enough time to put me. I don't have time to like some bearing case if I want to. But that gets changed if people who aren't roaming do what I do, which is do one rotate, do one wall fortification, maybe even two if it's like a small map and for a fact that you can get to where you get to regardless. Because I know when I'm roaming, I know exactly where I want to play at and what I'm going to do when I get there. So I already have the map done in my head. But there's enough time in the prep phase for you to do one or two free reinforcements and get a rotate in. It's not that complicated. Just the community is lazy. A lot of the things that comes to Siege and why they don't do certain things is just a lazy community.
Right, and in general, I think people will use some utility, or at least, a bit more. If they're not going to do that, I think it's also fine to balance the game around removing the 1.5 sight. Either there's a few options. If they remove it completely from the game, there are a few arguments for that. So as well, I don't think that's necessary in my opinion, but the argument at least would be is that it's kind of the perfect middle ground. Back when you needed a 1x or an ACOG, the 1x was good at close range and maybe like medium close range, and you could always use it. You could use anything at any distance. But the ACOG, for example, was only really good at like medium to long range. It was a little bit awkward up close. You could obviously use it, but it was more difficult. Now that you don't really have to make that decision anymore, I mean, I know for myself personally, I put the 1.5 set in every gun. It has no drawbacks. It's good in every situation, long distance, short distance, unless it's extremely long distances, and ACOG might have some advantage over it, but I'd rather use a 1.5 sight over anything. I do not use any other sights on my guns except for like a 3x on DMRs, maybe. Um, so yeah, I don't know.
I unironically didn't start using 1.5s on my guns until this season. Maybe like the end of last season. I was using like hollow sights on damn near all of my guns. Even on freaking attack. Like even on attack, I was using like hollow sights on like all of my guns. They just played into how I played the game. I roam a lot and I entry frag, so I tend to only want to have like, something that's gonna help me with close range those sights, and those are the hollow sights are good close range sights. I switched using 1.5 at the end of last season because that's what everyone was using. Like it wasn't even because freaking I need these 1.5 or I want these 1.5. It was like what's some good, it's been a while since I played Siege. It's been like a few months. What's the meta right now on certain guns? It's like okay, people are using 1.5 on these guns, and then I'll do the same thing. It's kind of like putting a flash hider on all your guns. It's like okay, people are using flash hider on the setups. I'll do the same thing. Let's basically being a meta sheep, seeing what the meta builds are for guns and going with that versus CD4 lads where it's like I'll run compensator on guns that I feel like you are a better compensator. Not use free on hollow B on almost all of my guns. Like this season, I probably I probably tried more sites this season than ever before because I was like, all right, let's see what other sites look good on the zombie, what other sites look good on Thorn, what other sites look good on the Roni for Aruni, what looks good on Solus. Like I was rotating around a lot, but I still kind of kept going back to the freaking hollow B more than anything else, but I was trying out other things and that had nothing to do with 1.5.
There's also an argument that you can make about having maybe like lower fire rate guns be the only ones that have them. Anything that's like above that 700 RPM kind of level, and low recoil kind of just turns it into a laser beam, and it's just too good basically in kind of like every situation. And I do think something that I kind of want to talk about as well is at one.
I'll also say this when it comes to Siege, you could ignore like 90% of these things in Siege if they did what ammunition said. Ammunition, she thinks that they should just remove one hit kills and headshots from the game. One hit kill headshots have been like basically a staple of Siege since the game came out. But part of you think about like what's the issue 1.5 is so accurate in one taps on heads. So it's like if a headshot is a one hit kill, then a lot of things change. If you want Siege to be less aggressive, that can also make the game less aggressive. If you one shot to the headshot, people wouldn't like that. I wouldn't like it, but like I'm not saying that they should do it, but it's an idea that ammunition came out. It's like the game would be better if they just one shot headshot from the game. Basically use like a real balance system that other games use. Like other games, there's one shot headshot depending on what gun you're using. A sniper rifle or a DMR Mars rifle, one shot kill to the head. Other guns, do less. Like there's modifiers how much damage a gun would do on headshots. Siege, that's not how Siege works. Siege is literally any gun in the game. There's pistol, LMG, SMG, AR, carbine, whatever. It's one shot kill if you hit a head in the head. So that could be an idea they consider, but it will drastically change Siege. And if the whole thought process is you want the game to be less aggressive, that's the way to make the game less aggressive.
There is like a light outline around operators right now, or so Ubi's
claims
there is. I don't really see it anymore. I think it's been nerfed pretty bad, but I think that's one of the problems with the game too. Is it's actually just hard to see things in a lot of situations. Ember Rise. There's Wind Bastion skins, North Star, stuff like that. Makes it really difficult to see people in certain situations. And obviously, the 1.5 sight with this bit of magnification can make people pop out a bit. there were some people that were talking
The
about
next
balancing
beta
around
starts
Pro
on the
League. I do
10th.
think,
Okay.
balance around Pro League is not necessarily the worst thing ever, but I think I would take it with a grain of salt, and I'll have another video on balancing in the future specifically. A lot of these comments and stuff come from Twitter as well, so I try to
I
post.
mean, I say you can't balance, like if there's any comments made about Pro League, you can't balance the game around Pro League. Like that's the thing, that's like the big comment. You cannot balance the game around every game. You cannot balance it around the pros because the pros are, less than 1% of the, like literally less than 1% of the community are pro players. So like they're not giving you a real sample size of what ranked siege is like in those those high populated areas like freaking bronze, silver, gold, and then that gold one, flat five area. Those are like the usual areas in siege where the higher the play might look like are at. You're not gonna get like a good sense of that from Pro League. Because Pro League players are doing things entirely different with what people are doing in rank. Strats and rank and strats Pro League, it all work so differently from each other. So you can't balance the game around pro players. You gotta see what's actually going on in the game, what people are sharing, people are mentioning on forums, what content creators are showing in videos from what they're experiencing and things like that.
A tweet about the video that's coming up and pull from that for these videos and stuff as well, so I can cover everyone's comments. There's also people who are kind of suggesting maybe nerfing the 1.5 in general. I think it's fine. The only way you could really do that is by like obscuring more of like the site, because like other sites have like are a little bit more bulky. But I don't like that idea personally. I think it's actually really annoying with other gun sites, and it just kind of leads to more frustration in the form of balancing. But yeah, I think at least my original suggestion was at least removing it off of maybe like 2 and 3 speed operators. The reason I'm kind of going with that personally is just it's what people take. People, in my opinion, they just want an operator that has decent speed, a 1.5 sight, and no recoil. The operator really doesn't.
Yeah, like outside of like Rook and Doc, people aren't really going to use heavies to spawn peak. Like Rook and Doc are the ones people who usually use because Doc you can overstim yourself, and Rook you got Rook plates, and once you put your plates down as Rook, you don't even care if you die or not. Like I did my job, the plates are down, so if I die, my team's fine. So it's like those are like the chunkers who would do spawn peaks and run outs and whatnot, and people will do that with them. But you won't see people doing that with freaking IE, freaking Maestro, and a lot of the other chunkers. Generally, I feel like there's other way. Like I feel like there's other ways you can make siege less aggressive. Personally, I think there should be something going on with spawn when it comes to like runouts and spawn peaks in general. I think for spawn peaks, even when a round starts, should still have that orange hue. So when defenders have a hard time looking outside. It should permanently have that orange hue because whenever you do a run out, like there's a screen kind of an orange hue towards it. And you got like a timer. I think for spawn peaking, just period. Anytime the defender looks outside, there should be that orange hue, unless like that become like a balancing issue. Because it's like, what about when a wall gets taken down, like let's say like CCTV on a clubhouse, hue there, that would be really fair for defense. So that would lead to like some other issues. I would also say maybe get rid of runouts entirely. Like I know it's like a crucial part again, much like when it comes to ammunition's idea about roping one shot kill headshots from the game. It could drastically change siege. You remove the ability to do runouts, but that's a part of the over aggressiveness that the game has. It's also one of the most frustrating things in the game when you have people who the second the round starts, boom, like that, they're outside, and the timer is irrelevant. The timer, no one ever like falls for like to the timer. Like again, using like Clubhouse for example, if you use that strip club entrance as an attacker, Boris can pop the wall to like the far right of that, run outside, shoot you while you're coming out that spawn area before the timer even goes off, and be back inside. And that's a lot of maps are that way, where it's like you can get outside quick enough, get a kill, get back where that timer goes off, where something be outside, things like that. There's not a lot of penalty for doing a run out. Maybe you can still have run outs, just have more penalty. It's kind of like what's missing from the game. There's less risk nowadays in Siege. Like there was a time when it seemed like it was very risky to do spawn peaks, very risky to do run outs. Like there's less risk nowadays. Maybe that's what the game needs. The game needs more risk.
matter. And
If you
it's
have more
evident
risk,
from
maybe you
back
have
in
less
the day when
aggression.
people used to take Jaeger. Obviously, back then he had an ACOG, but same kind of concept. I mean, you can really easily see it in the most recent meta, right? People shifted from playing Alibi 1.5. Then when she lost her 1.5, people hopped to Oryx. When Oryx lost his 1.5, people hopped to Warden, right? And it's like Warden's not even being played the way he's supposed to. He's a one of
Yeah, like, but that's literally just people just trying to, like, again, this goes back to people being lazy. People want to have the easiest way to achieve a high stat line, even like not even win. People want to have the easiest path to a high stat line. People will take going 10 in freaking 5 every single game over in going 3, 2, and 5 and winning games. They'll just go to people's chat and be like, I don't understand how come I have a 1.6 KD and average 10 kills and I'm still freaking bronze. They don't care about winning. You know, they'll do stuff like freaking get 2 kills and then sit outside the entire time. So it's just one of the things where, like, I don't know. Like I said, people always, the laziness of Siege community, they always choose the easier route. The easier route is just picking whoever has 1.5. That's the easier route versus, doing what he's doing right now, which is playing Legion with a hollow site and doing the exact same things what we do with a hollow 1.5. This is not a 1.5. This is a worst site. I prefer the hollow B over 1.5.
like less useful operators in the game, right? His use kind of lies in, okay, somebody is doing smoke takes or ying takes or flashing an area heavily, and you could turn on your glasses and basically avoid that. The way he's being used now is 1.5 sight, no recoil, me peek, right? So it's like you also could do the thing whereas if you want to keep Warden on a 1.5 sight for whatever reason, you could make him a 3 armor, right? And you could slow him down. I mean, I think at one point he was a 3 armor. He got moved to a 2 armor, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, just all things to kind of think about. Let me know what you guys think about the video. Once again, like, drop some comments. I'll try to respond to every single one of them. And yeah, share the video if you can. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. And thank you very much again to G Fuel for sponsoring this video.
All right, it's a good video. I like King George. King George, he's a hometown brother. He's from Detroit. I'm from Detroit. He's a former pro champion who I've been watching since Siege has its freaking pro league. He's a cool dude. Very high energy streams. He's entertaining. Definitely people should check him out. Subscribe to him, especially now that he's getting back into like doing like traditional YouTube content instead of like just the usual. Just a lot of people when it comes to Siege content creators, they just post clips. Just post clips and highlights, or do like school videos to teach how to play the games. Just having like conversational pieces. That's what I prefer. I prefer the conversation pieces. Like I make conversational Siege videos. Like I might do a tip video here and there, but I prefer having like the conversations that people aren't really having at Siege. So this is what that will be. This would be a conversation people aren't necessarily having. Generally, I think I don't care. Like I'll be honest, I don't care if the site's in the game or not in the game. It's kind of like why I have that standpoint of they can do this, they can do that, because like it doesn't affect me whether it's in the game or not, because I'm going to play the game the way I play it regardless. Like I'm not going to be less aggressive if the 1.5 is not there, because I'm going to play the game. Well, I've been playing Siege since the freaking. I literally played the game in closed alpha or like a closed beta on a shitty Dell PC, and since then, from now till now, I'm playing the game kind of the same way. Kind of like lurk around Rome with a hollow beast on my guns, or just hollow sights in general on my guns. Get some easy picks, then get back to freaking site because like again, you see my videos. I've been doing that since the game basically came out. So it doesn't matter to me. Like this doesn't really affect me. I use 1.5 just because like I said, I use it because it's the meta thing to use right now. Kind of like when it comes to Flash Hider. Like if they remove Flash Hider from a freaking game, they're not going to. I'm not saying they should. I would just go back to use Compensator, because like 2 seasons ago, I had Compensator on all my guns. Other than like a couple guns I had muzzle on. But like, I just followed the meta of everyone has Flash Hider on all their guns and 1.5 on all guns that can use it. I don't need it. Look at the Rooney gameplay that I have where almost now someone tries to like be sneaky, and I still get like the pretty nice one tap on their head, regardless of the fact that she doesn't have 1.5. Yeah, anyways, check out King George, show him some love and all that stuff.